Hello and welcome to our presentation. I'm Annie,
I'm Hope.
I'm Hank.
I'm Sydney.
I'm Carson.
and our group was given the Dynamic Systems Development Method, or DSDM, to describe for this Agile Methodologies final project. So today we will tell you all about what DSDM is, how it came to life, some of the advantages and disadvantages of this method, and really go over some examples of how it's used in industries now today.
The DSDM process is governed by 8 main principles. Focusing on the business's needs helps to ensure that all projects stay relevant and can promote efficiency. And it's important to deliver results on time in order to build trust and rapport. Collaboration is also key, and quality should never be compromised. Many teams practicing DSDM benefit from setting quality standards before beginning their project. The method also encourages building incrementally from a firm foundation, which can allow a team to assess quality at each step. Emphasis is placed on iterative development, where a project continually evolves at each step and experimentation is embraced. Internal and external communication is essential, and to help facilitate that, DSDM preaches that one must be able to demonstrate control over a project by keeping a close eye on progress and constantly reevaluating the project. These principles provide the framework for the DSDM method, and it's important that a team follows them closely.
So, how did DSDM really come to life? So, back in the 1990s, software development was changing, and oftentimes it was really frustrating as the traditional methodologies that they were using at the time, such as the waterfall method, were really kind of all they had. And for anybody who doesn't know, the waterfall method is a development activity that comes in very linear sequences. So basically, when you start doing something, you can't go back and edit without starting the whole thing over. So it was really hard for editors, and this was constantly having to have them really restart everything we were working on. So obviously, this method really lacked flexibility and would mess up an entire project plan. So both developers and project managers were under a lot of stress. So they came up with DSDM. So that's kind of why it came about. In 1994, it really originated in the UK. These experts came together and they created a new approach. And their goal here was to combine the best aspects of any existing methodology, but addressing all of their shortcomings. So they established this framework and they used the 8 principles that Sydney just mentioned before. What they really emphasized here was the user involvement and the frequency of delivery of increments. So this new approach allowed teams to respond to changes way more quickly than the waterfall would. It transformed project management, and now teams are able to deliver high quality products on time and within budgets because they can go back and edit far more easily.
Moving on to some of the advantages of DSDM. Firstly, it is applicable to any business, any technical environment, and for any project. It's also business driven, so projects have real business value, and it emphasizes the prioritization technique so that the project focuses on delivering the most critical features first, which aligns with the business needs, and having continuous stakeholder involvement ensures that the project delivers maximum business value, which leads us to the second advantage, which is that it includes stakeholders. So it is suitable for projects that have stakeholders who have distinct roles, and they collaborate with the development team to ensure that they're on the same page and that expectations are aligned and there's clear communication, which moves into another advantage is that it improves collaboration. So progress is easily understood across the organization, and there is a constant feedback loop, which promotes close communication and constant adjustments based on regular evaluations. And lastly, there are clear guidelines that are set. So by having a definite process, it allows the team to mitigate issues early on, which lowers risk. And it is also really good for projects that have a hard end date and must be completed by the end because it is so clearly defined. Moving on to disadvantages, it is complex. So having complexity means that there is often significant documentation and process adherence, as well as making sure the team understands the process and principles of DSDM. And also shifting to a DSDM approach may require significant change in the organization and require the team to adjust their culture and processes, which might be difficult to manage. It is also time consuming because it's so complex. There is time and effort required to plan and execute properly. And therefore, DSDM can be costly because it takes so much time. It often requires skilled personnel to come in and direct the team, and that can cost extra money. It can be unsuitable for small organizations. And lastly, it is restrictive. So because it's so clearly defined, it minimizes creativity and everything moves quickly. So less risks are taken. And even if better solutions are available, they might not be focused on because you're so focused on completing the task at hand.
The DSDM has been successfully used across various industries, including care, software development, and construction. This methodology is particularly popular in sectors such as these to deliver projects that require rapid development and also frequent updates. Taking a closer look, DSDM is well suited for projects in healthcare where there's need for rapid adaptations at the high level of uncertainty. It's used to improve patient care systems and also develop new technologies. DSDM is highly effective in software development projects because it accommodates continuous user feedback and adaptation to changing software product requirements. Lastly, in construction, this approach helps manage large-scale projects by breaking down the development into smaller, more manageable phases. This allows for early detection of issues, better communication, and flexibility to adapt in changes across these construction projects. These are just a few examples of the projects that DSDM excels at completing. This phased approach emphasizes on involvement and makes it an ideal framework for delivering projects that are aligned with business needs, effectively managed, and high-quality projects. An example of the DS would be Claire's software company. Her team has embarked on a project to develop a mobile app retail client. This app will allow users to browse products, make purchases, and also receive personalized recommendations. With a tight timeline, their client expects regular updates and strong collaboration. Now, let's break it down on how Claire's software company implements DSDM to manage this project effectively. First, a feasibility study is conducted, and this assesses client requirements, budget, and timeline. This helps define the project scope and deliverables upfront. Next, the development team creates a functional model and prototypes the mobile app. They focus on core features like browsing and cart management. Client feedback drives this iterative improvement. And as development progresses, iterative cycles add features such as personalized recommendations about the app. This design and build phase ensures that priorities are aligned and that everyone is on track. This app is incrementally delivered to then the client for testing and feedback. Thorough testing ensures that there is quality and user satisfaction before any kind of deployment is made. Post approval, the app is then deployed to the app stores. Ongoing support addresses user issues, and updates are constantly being incorporated based off of feedback to make sure that the app remains relevant and also effective. Lastly, Claire's software company decided to invest in a lot more cute little hard hats because they not only succeeded with this project, but also looking really cute.
So DSDM varies from other agile methods in a few prominent ways. It was actually the first framework to incorporate project management principles into its structure. It requires the basic foundations of a project to be decided upon at the beginning, and it includes a broader variety of roles than most other agile methods do. And maybe most importantly, it's project focused rather than product focused.
So as Carson mentioned, there are some disadvantages for DSDM, and that's why it can be used with other methods, which is what's happened most often. So because it's relatively old, it's evolved since its introduction in the early 90s, initially being designed as an alternative to RAD. But it can provide project supplementation to traditional methods like Scrum, and it's typically integrated into corporate projects along with other agile methods, mainly for its focus on the project itself and the iterative developments. And then for those disadvantages, it's typically not used by itself anymore, but along with the certain properties of it, it can be used along with different agile methods. In conclusion, DSDM is a framework for project management that focuses on the iterative development and the project itself. It emphasizes that development and the user involvement throughout the process and the collaboration that we've talked about, and it delivers tangible benefits to stakeholders, and it's a great process for continuous improvement throughout a project.
Thank you so much for listening to our presentation today. We all hope that you learned a bit more about DSDM through this presentation and how you can use it in your own design process. Here are some sources that we used in our presentation to gather our information if you wanted to learn more and see where we got our own information.
And to that, we all tip our imaginary hard hats to you and bid you adieu. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.